Fats. Welcome to another episode of Check Game Podcast, episode 3. I'm here with your boy Alvin Williams and your boy Fats. We're here to talk some Philly hoops this week, and let's get into it, man. What's up with you? How you been?
Hold on for a second before we talk Philly hoops. I don't mean to disclose your location, but that don't look like Philly where you at. That don't look like Philly, man. That look like something real nice right there, dog. You
You
got the
know me.
bonsai trees and all that.
What's up with you? How you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good, man. Back here with you. Talk a little Philly hoops, like you said.
Yeah, that's always good. Anywhere you want to start in particular since we're talking Philly hoops?
I just love Philly when it comes to the fabric. And we talked about that in our first conversation, our first episode about the fabric of Philly. We talked about 16th Street. We ain't tap in a lot to the Sunny Hill League and total response and positive image and all of the great leaders that we had bringing us up, whether it was indoor, outdoor, school, elementary, high school, middle school. But Philly hoops is definitely where it's at, competitive, hard news, and it's just about bringing your hard hat and your lunch pail every day when you go to hoop.
So as we got into it, we talked about some of the guys you faced that you wanted to mention, some of the guys that was a tough matchup for you, or some people you wanted to just mention because they was pretty good at basketball. And I think this is a nice platform for you to show some love to some of the guys. So if I had to ask in your Philly days, whether that's
Ah,
college or high school, uh, talk to me about some of the guys that was competitive with you and gave you some work.
man. Well, ain't nobody give me no work. I gave the workout. It's like, nah. Philly, you couldn't run. But I tell you, it's people that I think about. I think the first person, dog, that I was scared to play against, and you know him as my brother, ended up going to Villanova because of him, was Jonathan Haynes. Jonathan Haynes was somebody, man, that came from Germantown out the hollow, went to Germantown Friends, ended up going to Temple, transferred to Villanova. But he was one of them guys, man. He was all city, all southeastern Pennsylvania, all American, and scoring like 2,000, over 2,000 points in 3 years in high school. And he put Germantown Friends on a map, a friend school that was, private school. Nobody was really checking for him. But he was one of them dudes, man, that he was tenacious, man. He was a dude offensively, but defensively, his attitude. He was one of them dudes when you step into the gym and he think you the number one guy, or they're saying you the number one guy. He on attack mode. He's the guy that got the newspaper clippings on his room before he play against you. So he definitely had a fire in his back. So John Haynes was somebody, man, that you don't hear a lot of people talk about him now, but if you was around during that time, you definitely knew what he was about. And another guy that resembled him to me, more of my age, was Jeff Myers from out South Philly. Jeff
Mhm.
Myers was a dog, man. He was
Mhm.
somebody with a similar mentality to John.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And he was a guy that he got better offensively, but he was a dog. He was coming in there to show you what he was going to do, and he was going to try to take you out your game. But Jeff was a monster, and you know this guy, and a lot of people don't talk about him, but he was one of the dudes. I think we was trying out for the same team, and he pretty much punked me. He went to Gratz, Contrell Scott, dog.
Mhm.
Con,
Mhm.
Contrell Scott. I ain't play against him a lot, but I just remember one time we was trying out for a Sunny Hill team. I can't remember what year it was, but I remember I had the ball playing the point. That's all I ever played. He came up to me and was like, "Yo, I'm the point." Okay, you got it. And then I was watching him after that, dog, and then played against him a few times that evening. Contrell Scott was a monster, dog. So those three guys, it's a lot more. We can talk about a lot more, but those are three guys that I remember. I was like, damn, man, a lot of people don't talk about them, but they definitely was the real deal.
I'm familiar with the three. John is your man. We played with him a bit.
Yup.
Jeff was in Toronto with us for a minute,
Yeah.
and Contrell, that's my man. He a Gratz guy, so I'm familiar with all those guys, and they all got some game. And if I had to say some guys that was uh, competitive to me, it really and not being a Gratz guy, but my biggest challenge was Jared and Marv, and that's no knock against nobody else, but
Nah.
we were so experienced through travel ball. We just didn't play local ball, and so um, those was like my biggest challenge because Jared could dribble and shoot, Marv could shoot, and they was just a notch better than me, and that they was more my competitor than anybody else in the public league. Just trying to keep up with them and get my game up to that level. But I like to shout out a lot of players like Lynn Greer was pretty good. Flip Murray, he
Pretty
my
good.
yeah yeah. Lynn was pretty good, left-handed
You don't want
guy.
to give nobody no
Yo
props,
yo yo
dog.
yo yo, hold up, man. Lynn pretty good. Flip Murray, that's my man. You know, Flip pretty good. And at some point, I watched the cast, different cast, and they said was Gratz and Strawberry Mansion a rival. It was never a rival. We always beat them. But what I will say about them, it was more of a brotherhood because they were both North Philly and they allowed similar guys to play for them. Uh, Buzz, Fournier, and um, Flip, they really good friends of mine. So I never rooted against them unless they played for Gratz. If they was playing any other team, I'm rooting for Flip and Buzz. You know what I mean? So it was never really a rivalry. And we played them once or twice and we always beat them. But I felt like we had more love for them than rivalry. I mean, if we played each other, we want to beat them. But I was off the court. I'd always root for Flip and Buzz. And I had a few other guys I want to mention, but I won't take up too much time. I'll let you take
Nah,
up some.
man. This conversation, I tell you, the first time I saw a flip, man, I was in college and Jay Lawson had a photo shoot and we had to walk around his neighborhood. I don't know, I think it was Sports Illustrated or something. They did like the top big men in college. And I remember Jay walked around and I guess there was they boys club out there in Logan. And all these kids came in there. They was wilding. Not even wilding, but they was kids, young kids. And it was at nighttime. And I saw these kids playing ball, but they was just messing around. Kind of might have been playing roughhouse or something. But I remember this boy. I think this boy had black jeans on, a jacket, black Timbs, and he was killing and like jumping high, like just killing everybody. I'm like, yo, Jay, who the youngin right there? He was that's your boy named Flip. And I think Flip, Jay knew his sister or family members or something like that. And I was like, damn. But he might have been like in seventh or eighth grade, dog. He was young.
Mhm.
And I was like, yo, he all right. And Jay was like, yeah, he all right. But I know his family, Jay, Jay don't talk much, Jay Lawson. And then after that, I started hearing about him more. And I used to hear, I guess, down your way, the kid Buzzy and Flip. And I guess they had songs and all that. Like I was older, so they used to be down there and I guess killing down 33rd Street, 33rd and Diamond, I guess, whatever down there. I used to hear about that or whatever. But then after that, Shaw, and I bumped into him when he played for Seattle, dog. He crossed the shit out of me so bad, dog, baseline, and left me standing where I stood, dog. I was like, God. Yeah, no, Flip was the deal, dog. So I had an interaction with him when he played for Seattle.
Well, since we talking about Flip, because I like Flip handles, I wanted to kind of get into a player that was more your era. I like Kareem Towns. I like Rab a lot, and being as though Rab played at LaSalle, he would always be down North Philly with Reds. Like he was touchable. I could see him shake his hand. Hey, what's up, Rab? How you doing? Blah blah blah. So I was a big fan of Rab because similar to you, tall, slim, with a really silky handle and could fire the ball for three. So you probably had more interaction with Rab than I did because he's probably 4 years above me. Did you and him play in college?
Yeah, I had too many run-ins with Rad. Rad was super tough, man. Smooth, silky smooth, shoot from outside, handle the ball, like big guard, could pass his ass off. Rad was super tough. And then when you got that South Philly back in South Philly, like no other part of the city. If you nice coming out of South Philly, the whole hood is behind you, the whole South Philly behind you. So wherever he went, man, he had the support. And he was super tough. Played against him in college. I'm tell you another story. He was in high school and I I had this friend and that knew rap. And she used to always tell me, yo, you resemble this guy Kareem Towns. This guy Kareem Towns, tall, dark skinned, lanky, whatever. And I was like, I never saw him. So one day, dog, I'm in my house and it's a newspaper. I don't know if it's a Daily News or an Enquirer. And I see this picture of this kid. He bending over and he like holding his shorts. And it's an article. And I'm sitting like, damn, I didn't even know they did an article about me. I see number 11 or whatever his number was. I said, oh man, that ain't me, dog. That's the boy Kareem Towns. That was the first time I got a chance to actually see him and read about him. I think he was averaging like 39. But he was, man, he was tough, dog. And people thought we had similar styles, similar games, but no, he was so much smoother and all that. But we ran it. I played against Rap one time in college. My freshman year, I think it might have been his junior year or whatever. And we beat LaSalle. He ain't have a great game, but that Big Five was different anyway. But yeah, we beat him.
That's what's up, man. Because he did to me resemble you, not identical, but just tall, lanky, and smooth with a control handle. Since we're in South Philly, I want to give a shout out to my man Rasul Butler. Rest in
Yeah,
peace, because that was a good friend of mine, and he's more in my era, and I got to spend a lot of time with him playing ball up at LaSalle. Him and Vic Thomas. Um, Rasul was a really good dude. I like how he got his game together, how he transitioned into being a pro. He became a really good shooter and a good defender, but I got to spend a lot of personal time with him and a lot of his friends from the P. It's always love with South Philly, especially being from grads with Marv, and just it was a great relationship. And I just wanted to say a lot of respect and a shout out to Rasul Butler, also to Donnie Carr. You know what I mean? Yah Davis, Rashid Bey. Uh, Philly got some ballers, and me being fortunate enough to play ball and get around a lot of those guys, I got no problem sending out shout outs to all of those guys.
yeah, no, they were that those young bucks was tough. I remember first time bumping into Donnie. He was at St. Joe's. He might have been in ninth or 10th grade. I just thought he went to St. Joe's. He was so mature and he had these white and red Nikes on. I was like, yo, he go to St. Joe's? He's like, nah, man, he in high school. Then the next thing you know, you saw him. I guess they was in the Palestra. He hanging on the rim. I think in the finals, in Catholic League finals or something like that, or they played against Kobe or something like that, man. But he was tough. Yah was tough. Got a chance to when those guys grew up and started getting on that level, like high school, I mean college, and I was around more. And then Yah, he got an opportunity to go to some of these free agent camps. Larry Brown really like Yah Davis, and those guys is really good. Donnie, like you said, She Bay was tough. And going backwards, my man Kev Slaughter. Kev Slaughter would come with us, man, sometime a 5 star and turn it out. Man, they Philly had some great guards, great players. They had a man child named what's his name? Juan Campbell. Big, big, strong, athletic dude. I think he was from South Philly too, man. And it was South Philly had a lot of players, dog, and even go all the way back to the OGs, Pooh Richardson and Lionel Simmons, and you know what I mean, Nate Blackwell. Like, man, we can go on for days, dog.
Yeah, you said you wanted to get into something about Lionel Simmons. Shout out to Lionel. I'm not. I don't have a personal relationship with him at all. I know him a bit through Rasul, but
Uh,
I don't know him directly to say, hey, what's up. But definitely was admiring his game because he was one of the first of me to witness go pro. You know, I had Hank in my life, but Hank had a tragic, and me watching Lionel was able to complete the mission, getting in there, go to Sacramento, and it was a lift for the whole city, not just for South Philly. We all was proud that Lionel got to go to the pros, and he performed there too. It wasn't like he got there and didn't
what?
perform. Yeah, so it was a big, it was like I said, it was a lift up for the city of basketball, not just South Philly, because I was just as happy that he got to go pro as any other person from the city.
Hey, dog, I'll tell you a story. It ties back into Kareem Towns. So Sunny Hill back then, they had a Future Stars tournament, and they would have back then they would split it up before they split it up with the sophomore, juniors, and seniors. They would just put like top players or whatever, and we all try out, go out for the team, and other teams would come and play us in the end of the summer. So Rab was on his team, but our coaches was Doug Overton and Lionel Simmons. And I tell Doug Overton, a shout out to Doug Overton, another OG, had crazy game. And Lionel Simmons was our coach. Both
Mm-hmm.
killed it at LaSalle, big names, heading to the NBA. They was our coach, so I'm excited. I'm like, yo, man, we getting coached by Lionel Simmons and Doug Overton. But when I say they ain't give me no tick, I ain't get off the bench. But Rad was in front of me, so I mean, I gotta bow down. Rad was he was head and shoulders better than me at that point, and I'm like, damn, man. But I'm not getting no burn. So one day I think they might have to go to pre-draft or whatever. They both missed the game. They had to do something. So they come back for the next game. We still in the tournament. So they sitting in the locker room of Gonigal Hall. They talking to each other. It's like, yo, see who did what. They looking at the stat sheet from the last game. So they go all around the locker room. What he did, what he did, what he did. So they get to me. They're like, yo, what's his name? They ain't know my name. They're like, what's his name? So I'm looking at him, right? I can't remember which one, but both of them, I'm gonna hold both of them accountable to it. It don't matter. Just look for the person with the most zeros. That's the person. Hey, Fats, I was hot. I was hot. I was hurt. Hey, dog, I remember that was going into my freshman year, and I remember, dog, I ended up making an all-star game in the Interact League, and our colors was blue. And it's like, we got one number left for you, and it was number 22, dog, Lionel Simmons number. And I was like, man, I don't want that number, dog. I hate dude, man. But nah, that was you somebody you looked up to and you watched. And then when they sit there, like, man, I don't know that dude name, man. Look for the boy with the most zeros. I said, man, but nah, always laugh about that, man. But being around that talent, being around those mentors, and they ain't even know. When you that young and you got your life going on, you don't even know, dog, how many people you impact and how many people look up to you. And when you're that young, you don't know how to conduct yourself. I'm not saying they was wrong. They was playing something I would have done. It's something I probably did to somebody else. But
Mhm.
no, that's my story about the OG, the train dog. But train dog, he was a monster dog in college
Well, you
and in the
mentioned
pros.
Donnie playing against Kobe. I'll happen to be at that game. I think Kobe had 38, Donnie had 34, and us Gratz guys went because earlier that year, my senior year at Gratz, we scrimmaged Kobe Bryant. We scrimmaged Lower Marion. His team, he was the number one player in the country. Gratz was ranked number 5 in the country as a team. And so we beat them pretty bad in the scrimmage. And it created a relationship because Kobe invited me and the guys from Gratz to his party. He had a party at Lower Marion, and it kind of created a connection with us. But any memories of you with Kobe, or whether that's being up in Lower Marion area or whether that's being in a professional space, how was your relationship in that professional space of the NBA?
Well, the professional space, it wasn't, Kobe was on a whole different level. And me playing in the Eastern Conference, we were only played them twice. So I didn't really get a chance to kick it with Kobe. Not that we would have anyway, but as a youngster, it was unbelievable because his dad, Coach Joe Bryant, used to coach our Sunny Hill All-Star teams with Sheed and Ty Weeks and Jay and Kev and all of us, Rondell. Like he coached us, and he would bring Kobe to the practices. And Kobe might have been 12, 13. He was young. But he used to practice with us. And he come to our games and all that. Like he would do all that. And he would be following around. And I remember my dad one time was trying to figure out the starting lineup. He's like, all right, so you're gonna start, the other kid gonna start, she gonna start, Jay, Weeks, Mark Jackson, whatever he was thinking of. And I was like, Dad, who the other kid you talking about? The kid, because he used to wear these volleyball knee pads. And the sister played volleyball. So I guess he was jacking his sister knee pads.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, Dad, he 13 years old, man. He ain't playing with us. But that's how he wasn't in a way. At that young age, he was confident. And then when I went to Villanova, I would go up to Ardmore and go up there and play outside. And now he's starting to be ninth grade, 10th grade. Then he used to start calling me, yo, can I come up to Villanova and play with y'all? He would come up and play a few times. Then he get a Land Cruiser. Yo, can we go to Bahama Bay? Can you get me in? Used to call the mom, Chris. So we had a very close type of dynamic from an old head to being a young guy. And we were very similar because he had two older sisters and I had two older sisters. So we kind of related on that. But even his rookie year, his second year, we would keep in touch. But after that, Kobe, he was diabolical, dog. Like so Kobe, he was on a different plane with that. But young Kobe, we had a nice relationship.
Yeah, same here. Kobe got drafted to the Lakers, and my first year of school was in Palm Springs. And a lot of my teammates had asked me, "Hey, Fats, do you know Kobe?" And with us scrimmaging them as my senior year and the beginning of the season and being invited to his party, I kind of established a light relationship with him. But my teammates at school had assumed, "Oh, this Kobe Bryant, Fats, you don't know him." And once Kobe found out I was at that school, he kind of reached out to my coach, called the coach. The coach wound up calling me 10 times, like, hey, Kobe Bryant's looking for you. And actually, the coach gave me his card, which is something he probably would never do. But they gave me his card. Me and Kobe wound up hanging out. And he sent me some tickets to go watch them play in LA. He played Portland Trailblazers, and that was against Rashid and them. And that happened to be a great experience because when the game was over, we went to the mall and Rashid was in the mall. And we got to say my experience with Kobe wasn't so professional. It was much more personal. And we hung out, and me and you will get into a bit more of that later during our cast, but he spent some time with me, and it was pretty cool to hang out with him.
Yeah, this is when I knew Kobe went to another level, dog. So first, at Villanova, they was trying to get him my senior year, going into my senior year. So I remember my coach, Steve Lapis, was like, hey, we either going to get Kobe Bryant or we going to get Tim Thomas. Now, neither one of these guys visited our school. I've never seen him around other than Kobe come and play with us or me being around Kobe because Villanova and his neighborhood was right close by. So the word was Kobe was either going to go straight to the league or he was going to go to LaSalle where his pop coached at. And I went to Coach Lapp after he played with us. And he played against our team. And Lapp was like, he's like, yo, we gonna get him. I was like, well, ain't he going to the NBA? And he was like, he's not good enough to go to the NBA. You think he's good enough to go to the NBA? I was like, I don't really know much about the NBA and too many people playing there, but I know if he came here, he'd be the best player on our goddamn team. That's how good he was, dog. I was sitting there like, damn. So then later on, he go to the league. Come back after his rookie year, we're working out at St. Joe's with John Arnett in the back gym. So one of the drills we had full court 1-on-1. So me and Kobe playing full court 1-on-1. First game, I beat him. So, after you lose, you got to sit down. It's a row of people. They got to play. So Kobe's like, no, run it back. So John was like, nah, you got to wait your turn. So he's like, no, run it back. Because now he league. Now he not going by the rules. But he wasn't like a John Arnett. Like, he didn't come to the routine, so he didn't really understand that. But he's like, so I'm like, hold up. Run it back then. They ain't saying nothing to me. Run it back. Because I think I'm a senior. I'm a senior in college. I'm strong. I'm everything. I didn't play against everybody. Like, you ain't saying nothing to me. And you ain't played that much your rookie year. So whatever. And I just beat you. He's like, yo, let's play for some money. Nope. Don't have no money. Don't have no money. But we could play for free. Dog, that next game, he decides he's gonna bully me, dog. He backs me down all the way from the 3-point line, turn around and bang that thing on me, dog. Dunked it on me. I ain't never been dunked on 1-on-1 in my life, dog. Not like that. Never. No, I ain't never been dunked on 1-on-1. So I go back down. I go down. I can't remember if I make or miss a shot. The next time, he do the exact same thing. So this time, I'm like, hold up. So I take him, throw him out the air, like, hold up, we're not playing like that. Like, you're not going to just bully me like you Rick Mahorn in this joint. But I was like, yo, this boy's strong as hell, dog. Strong as hell. And then the final story, Fats, we played in the summer league. He was playing into his second year. It's my rookie year. And we playing, and I fouled him. I did something, I fouled him. When I say the whole crowd looked like they was going to kill me, dog. They loved him. I was like, yo, they really love this boy. I never experienced that. Like, they really loved him, dog. And I just remember after that, the whole Long Beach demographic, blacks, Mexicans, everything, kids, women, men, was about to kill me for fouling Kobe that hard or however I fouled him, dog. I said, this boy's really a mega star at this age, man. So that's when I really had to like sit there like Kobe Bryant on a different level, man.
Yeah, at the time he was a big name in Philly, and give him a shout out. But I wanted to switch gears from basketball to just Philly greats and mention somebody like Joe Frazier. You know what I mean? Who like put Philly on his back at a moment in time, and he went up against the greatest. Sort of like what I was saying about Reese Rice going against LeBron. Joe Frazier got to go against Muhammad Ali, and I wasn't old enough to watch that fight, but there's many nights, man, you've been out and you down go Frazier, you know. So I want to know what impact
Your long nights for Oakley.
what
Down goes Frazier.
what what was your take on Joe Frazier? If you got anything to say about Joe?
I mean, as you mentioned, nothing that no one else has ever said. You know, Joe Frazier, I think that trilogy with him and Muhammad Ali, that shapes. You have certain things in sports and in life that are monumental. And that's one of those things, those two competitors, well, not even Jordan. Jordan ain't had no really competitor, but Bird and Magic. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. And you looking like those two people did so much for each other's career. And that's just what it was. That time, and you hear their stories, how they were close friends, and he helped Muhammad Ali out outside of that ring to get him back on his feet when he needed help, when Muhammad Ali was struggling financially and
Mm-hmm.
he was facing a lot of backlash. Joe Frazier was somebody that was there for him. And
Right.
then it became, opponents. So shout out to Joe Frazier. And again, Philadelphia, man. We always talk about it. But yeah, to your point, big time boxer, one of the best we've seen. Man, that left hook, go back, bring it to Bernard Hopkins and all that. But Joe Frazier with that left hook, man, lights out.
Yeah, being from North, you hear his name, but he's a bit out of my age range. You just mentioned another great athlete, Bernard Hopkins. He from down the way with the Philly Shell, and he put it on some people's asses too. I really admired the way he beat De La Hoya with the body shot. But him holding this title, what was it, 20 consecutive title wins or something? He the man too. So if you had a few things to say about Bernard, that'd be cool.
No, Bernard was dope too. I got a chance to meet Bernard early in his career with my man Rob Murray and his father, Rob Murray Sr. And they was, big time around the boxing industry in the world, all over the world. But Philadelphia definitely had a thumbprint. But both of them, my man Rob and his father, would have me in the gyms and have me meet. And I remember going to see Bernard Hopkins fight. And he fought a guy by the name of Robert Allen. He fell out the ring and that fight got um suspended, but he came back, avenged his loss, avenged that fight, and dominated Robert Allen. But to your point, stayed in that middleweight division, and it was nobody in my eyes that at that point was more disciplined. You hear the Kobe Bryants, you hear the Jordans, but in the boxing world, I didn't see anybody more disciplined than Bernard Hopkins. I remember him telling me, "Man, I don't know the last time I had a cookie," and I just remember him just being that thumbprint for discipline, being somebody that is not your flashy guy, but he carved his way. I think he had non-negotiables when it came about how he could handle his business. I think he figured out the boxing industry and he made the most out of it, man. He stood his ground, he spoke his mind, and he's one of the greatest to ever do it.
Yeah, a lot of respect for him. I would see him at the car washes because he would get his car washed down the way, like on Huntington or something. And I would run into him. I don't know him personally, but I would see him enough to say, "Hey, what's up?" Um, Speaking of Philly greats, I also like to shout out Marvin Harrison. He got one of the best catches in the NFL that I think I've ever seen in the championship game at that. I see him a bit because he hangs out. I don't have a personal relationship with him either, but he's another person from Philly I like to just shout out for putting in hard work and repping the city. And he done a great job in the NFL.
Yeah, I'm a show you how old I am because I always tell old heads tell stories, always reminiscing. But the first time I saw Marv, we was playing down Gustine Lake, and when I say
Marv got not to cut you up. Marv got game though, huh?
what
Yeah, I heard that. I heard that. I heard that. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
when I say he gave me everything I needed and more, aka bust my ass. And I wasn't nobody at that. I wasn't nobody anyway, but I was just like, I remember after the game, somebody saying, "Yo, he going to Syracuse." And I was like, "Damn, all right, I feel better, dog. Like, he going to Syracuse. Like, I ain't get my ass bust by nobody because I never seen him. He's not a nobody." And I was like, "Oh, no, no, no. He going for football." I said, "What?" I said, "Yeah, he much better in football." I said, "Oh, so when you talk about athletes, dog,
Mm-hmm.
Marv Harrison, dog, is the deal. Quiet, low key. You won't see him. You won't. But on that field, dog, and on that court, he was a monster too, man.
Yeah, a lot of love. Marv, man, Marv the man, and shout out to his son. His son play out here in Arizona, so
Yeah,
I pay.
when you holler at him, dog, make sure you tell him to get it. I got him on my fantasy team, man. I got hey, I need I need something, dog. I wanted to, and I need him on my. I got him on my fantasy team, man. Pick it up, Philly, stand up.
So sticking in Philly, I want to get your opinion about the music scene, or just give me some of your Philly favorites when it comes to the music scene, because Philadelphia has a huge impact on the music industry, and I just would like to know your take on Philly impact in music, not just the rap scene. I would say music in total. Well, give me some of that from your side.
The Broad Street Bully.
No doubt, Mac in the building.
Hey, dog, the Broad Street Bully. Like, now, growing up, Will Smith, and you put me on the spot, man, because I won't even do Philly and the music scene justice, dog. But Will Smith, of course. But when I say like the impact, and I'm older enough, so he ain't shaped my life, but he made me really enjoy his way of putting music out, man. Not to mention he was with the hottest group and being Rockefeller. But I remember the first time, again, going down South Philly, my man Kev Slaughter let me hear his first mixtape or first time on a tape, him and a guy by the name of Murder Mills. And they was killing it. And then I remember going to a club, I think I forgot it was 38th and somewhere down there, 38, I can't, you know me in the city, 38th and Chestnut, somewhere, I forgot. But him and Jay-Z, they all performed, dog. And me, Cat, we was there. And I remember it's a Wawa, 7-Eleven down the street, and he was in there getting something after the show, after he performed. He did his acapella joint, killed it. And I remember me and Cat walking in, and we was all just in there. I was like, yo, dog, you killed it. He's like, yo, man, like, we up next. Like, it's our shit. Like, I remember him talking like that. He was so excited. And I didn't even realize I played against him when he was at Slayton Farms. I was at Germantown Academy, and we played Slayton Farms. We used to play Boone, Slayton Farms. He didn't play, but come to find out, the coach, T. Stokes' brother, George,
George. Mm-hmm.
he was coaching, and he told me, he was like, yo, Mac was on that team. So it was funny, like how everything come back in our city, man. It's a small world. It's a big city, but it's a small world. But shout out to Mac. But everybody, dog. Like, and I'm fortunate enough to have a very close friend, my youngin, Ryan Presson, who's in that music world, deep in that music world. So a lot of people he would introduce me to and show me and have me around a little bit. But shout out to all them state property, that whole movement. But you got Black Thought. The Roots was big. I introduced the Roots to a lot of people in college. My senior year, dog, going away. People really didn't know him, but Philly guys a great music scene. But when I stand head and shoulders above all, for me, is Mac.
I'm with you there, Mac. I like Mac's sound. I think Will must have had the biggest record, but Meek got a big record.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm a Siegel's era, but Siegel talked tough. I'm not a tough guy. Meek talked a little tough, but he talked fly, so I like a little Meek. But if I had to give you my favorite, I would probably go with Oskino. And Oskino, he spits like he one of us. You know what I mean? Like he talk it like he from the streets for real. So if I had to give you my pick, and that's not based on album sales, my music is based on the artists I can repeat and identify that music with me. So I felt like I could identify with a lot of Vasquez music. And you remember us up in Toronto listening to that State Property
Yeah.
Skino did us a little bit of justice, if you had to admit. You know,
Hey, Fats, I'm with you, dog. Oh, I'm gonna show you something real quick. Give me a break. This is raw anyway. I'm gonna show you something.
All right.
Who made this for me, dog?
Skino?
Yeah, he made this joint for me, dog.
Oh, that's what's up. Shout out to Skino,
Hey,
man.
dog.
Shout out to Skino, man. You already was folks, but this doing this for Big Cuz, that's awesome work, Skino. Appreciate that, man. Keep spitting, my G.
Hey, dog. That's me. That's me, Reese, and Ab. We had this joint, took a picture, and my man Rob hooked me up with it. Hooked me up with him. And on the spot, dog. No questions asked, dog. He put it together for me, man. Right on time, dog. Hooked me up, man. I ain't gonna put his prices out there because it's well deserved, but he hooked me up, dog. A favor, financial, everything, dog. So I much love the O and what he do. Like you said, most probably one of the most underrated rappers out of Philly, dog, or in the industry, dog. Really spit. When he did his thing on Hot 97, that's when, whew, yeah, dog.
Man, he different. I mean,
Yeah.
and again, I only like to label my kind of artist as the artist that I can repeat and
Hmm.
feel valid repeating the artist's words. And so he being from the struggle and like you said, that Hot 97, him getting with Jay-Z, I was really proud of that whole crew. I actually got a relationship with Chris and Neef. Me and Petey, we solid. Mac, I don't know so well, but Mac would come down Diamond Street and shoot dice with Little Whitey too. So Mac would be in my projects. Mac, I don't have a personal with him, but I'd see him enough. And Emilio Sparks, Vasquez, all of them, nothing but respect, much love. They put on for City really well. And if I had to say, I really just enjoy. Everybody liked Mac, but Skino was more player, smooth lyrics. Somebody I identify with a lot more myself.
Nah, cool. He gonna give you the Louis Sneaks, unlaced socks, unlaced strings, three buckle, pea coat, 10 like yeah. He definitely I saw him one time at DS Club one night, man. What's DS drink used to be called on 8th and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
What's the joint called, dog? You
8th
always let me
Street, 8th
get
Street, 8th Street.
not 8th Street Lounge, 8th
Mm-hmm.
Street Lounge, whatever.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then Sam, I saw him in there posted up, dressed sharp. I was like, I thought he was around my age. I didn't realize he was so young. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, state property, talking about O in that point, but state property, Chris and Neef, like they definitely Petey, Freeway, man, they made the city proud, dog. Can't forget Major Figures. They was right there with them. They was all
Mm-hmm.
connected at a point, man. They had their little beef and all that, but gotta shout out Major Figures, man. I was a big fan of Spado. Spado, man. I just got to see him not too long ago, about a week ago, at
Mm-hmm.
my man's birthday party. So seeing Spado being home for a while now, but just seeing him, man, it was always good seeing him. He lyrically one of the top to do it. Another
For
underrated
sure.
rapper, though. You talk
For
about
sure.
Oskino,
For
Spado was
sure.
definitely that deal. And
For sure.
shout out to Gilly doing his thing. Big fans of that whole crew.
Yeah, same. I went to school with a few of them. Shout out to Bump and Dutchy, Ab Lava too. All of them is cool dudes. And
Yeah.
like Spado was the man. Gilly could rap. They was in the midst of that battle for Philly. And shout out to Bianca. She was dope too. The whole crew.
Yeah, no, for
So
sure.
so they definitely rap for Philly. They put on well. I know Spado a little bit more I mean, I probably know them all the same if I had to say, but Spado's cool. I definitely spent some time with Bump and Dutchy, and shout out to them, man. They definitely put on for Philly too.
Definitely made us proud, man. You talk about
I wanted to change gears and back into basketball and talk to you about your Villanova days and some of your highlights where I think you scored 32 against Rutgers. I think you had a 29 point game in an NCAA tournament.
no.
What was your highest?
Thanks for the shout out though.
What was your highest in the NCAA tournament, Al?
31, 32, 31. And to a loss. We lost against Cal in the second round. Goddamn Tony Gonzalez, one of the best tight ends to ever play football, bust our ass. He had like 24 points, dog. They had a player back then. I don't know if you remember Ed Gray. Ed Gray had I want to say, a 60-point game that season. And he didn't even play. He broke his foot. He got drafted. I want to say he got drafted by the Atlanta Hawks. Ed Gray was tough. And he didn't even play. So that was a game we were supposed to win. But Tony Gonzalez stepped up and mopped us up, dog. And like that was it. So Kyle ended my college career, man, early.
Was that your senior year?
That was my senior year, yeah. But going to Villanova Fats, I was and I'm not, this is just history. A lot of people from Philly weren't going to Villanova.
Right.
So
right.
I think Chubby Cox in 1973, shout out to Chubby Cox.
Shout out to Chubby Cox, Mr. Cox and his son.
And his son, John Cox, who's now at GA. You know what I mean? He's head coach at Germantown Academy, my alma mater, but close ties, relatives to Kobe Bryant. We've been talking about Kobe, but he was the first one to go to Villanova. Well, the last one since 1973 from Philadelphia. And I was the one in 1993, 20 years later, to go there out of John went, but he transferred from Temple. But I actually recruited to go there. So a lot of Philadelphia people weren't going there. A lot of people in Philly wasn't accepting Villanova as a Philadelphia school. It wasn't Temple, LaSalle, St. Joe's, and stuff like that. So going to Philly, going to Villanova, it was a risk when it came to that, but I had a great time there. It was close enough, but it was far enough for me to have my own independence and experience. But that college experience, and we'll tap into that, I'm sure, episode, because I think a lot of these young kids got to understand what college, the benefits of college, and how to manipulate and use college to your best ability, and so you can get the most out of it. But Villanova was a great experience. I met probably if not my best friend, my closest friend, Jay Lawson, there. So it was a good experience there, man.
So when you mentioned about college experience in Villanova, just if we can get into it while we on this subject, I firmly believe for these kids that go for the experience, go for the friends, go for the experience of getting out of your parents' place, go meet other people, go to learn how to live on your own. I think it's more than trying to go to the NBA. There's a lesson in college and being away from your family and learning how to manage your bills, manage your life. You meet new friends. I'm a big person to encourage kids. Please go to college. Please get out your parents' house. Please try to go live on your own and see what that feels like. Don't be afraid to fail. Fall on your face, brush your shirt off, get back up and try again. So I'm a big fan of any kid that has any motivation or any aspiring actions to go to college. I'd push for that, and I'd hope for you to go out and try to make the best of that experience because there's a lot to learn other than sports. When you when you go to a new town or a new university, there's so much more to gain than just a sports experience. So we'll get into it later in our podcast, but I'm a big fan of changing your atmosphere. It does, for me at least, it has done me well to get me out of one atmosphere and not be afraid to go to another atmosphere. That has served me well in my course of life. And whether that been me having to start over from zero or maybe I was doing okay, but I've always been one that's not been afraid to change my position on earth to try and better myself. So I'm a big fan for kids who need some motivating words or encouragement to step out and go and try that. I'd advise you to go try that and meet new people, meet new friends. What's your take on that?
Nah, you beautifully said, and I echo exactly what you're saying. Unfortunately, today's world and this generation, and it's not to me, it's not the kids, it's the parents, it's the coaches, and it's just the industry now, where unfortunately everybody's putting all their eggs in one basket when it comes to these sports, and it's easier to do it now because that financial reward is closer than it's ever been. You can get paid as a high schooler now. You can get paid a good amount of money in college now, where back then you couldn't. So you had to go through the different steps, more steps to get to where you want to get to. But to your point, college in any environment, man, like you have to make sure you use it for what it's worth and get the most out of it. Because at the end of the day, when you get to our age, it's not what you know, it's who you know. And it's about your network. And I be telling people your network is your net worth, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know somebody, you never know if that person can help out, if that person can be a partner, if that person could be anything to help you get to where you want to get to. So unfortunately, man, it's one of these things that you're gonna have to walk through it to learn it and to experience it. But what you said, dog, from college and what it can provide, I would hope more kids would, or more people would take that approach. But honestly, Fats, I really think it's unrealistic to think like that because these young people now are being promoted so early to play these sports for the end, and that's money. It's money. You see people that have an opportunity to go in a different direction or go to the NBA. They might stay to get the money or get the bag, as they say, where before you just wanted to play against the best. You wanted to be on that status as an NBA player, as a pro player, as an NFL player. But now in college, you're a pro because you're getting paid. You are a professional, you're getting paid. So now, unfortunately, these young kids, they have to accelerate that maturity factor a little faster because once you're a pro, your expectations is higher. You can't go in there messing around because you get cut, you get sent away, you get put in the portal, you get put in different ways because these coaches, they don't have time. I'm paying you millions of dollars, you better perform. But we still can't lose sight. These kids is 18, 19, 20 years old, man, and they trying to figure it out. So it's a different industry, and I would love to tap in. I would love to bring parents on. I would love to bring coaches on. I would love to bring athletes, student athletes on and get their perspective because it's totally different than how we came up.
Definitely, definitely, definitely. I just thought that was cool for us to mention, just for kids to know that changing your atmosphere is not a bad thing, and it's scary for everybody. It's just as scary for me as it is for anybody else. But to put yourself in that position, I think it's always it's worth trying. You could always fail and go back home, but stepping out and trying, I'm a big advocate for that. So I just wanted to kind of get that in.
It's something where we see some of the challenges that our youth have, and there's so many things that we can look towards. And it's also, man, on a professional level outside of entertainment, because the last thing I want a kid to think is they have to be an entertainer. They have to be somebody out there, whether you're dribbling the ball, throwing the football, swinging a bat, rapping in a booth, or there's so many things out there that we all can do. That's why your point of going to college and meeting new people, experiencing different things and being exposed to different industries that you might want to experience is critical. But we definitely have a structure and an infrastructure to help kids out, to help the youth out when it comes to that. There's a lot of companies, there's a lot of home-based companies here that's global that they can share and they can have experiences as well too. So there's a lot of ways that these kids and these young people can really find their niche, just how to stay focused and stay on course. And I think through our podcast and through our platform, we can start setting up infrastructures and opportunities for some of these kids and some of these young people to really identify their passions and help them get past them, help them get to their passions and their goals.
No, I'm with you that there. So I think we soon to wrap up here, but I want to kind of get into giving our viewers a heads up that our next episode, we potentially could have a guest on. And to piggyback onto what you're saying, I don't think every guest we bring on needs to be an athlete, a musician, or famous. There's plenty other avenues or plenty other professionals that we could introduce through our podcast. And I think me and you discussed bringing on some doctors and some physicians and some psychologists just to give different avenues of which way we're trying to tap into our viewers on our podcast.
Yeah, professional experts. Again, we'll talk about some of these people and we'll talk about some of these instances, but then we want to be responsible, and we want to be responsible with the information we give, especially when it's so instrumental and is vital to people's lives and what they do to day to day. So when we do mention these people, we do mention these situations, as far as Hank Gathers, and as legendary as he is, it was a tragic way that he went out, from collapsing on the court and having heart failure. But now let's tap into why or how those things happen and give awareness and things like that. And I think us, as with this platform and this structure, we can really give a lot of information, helpful information to people that's listening.
No, definitely. So I think I got it. All right, Al, so let's wrap up Check Game Podcast episode number 3. I look forward to talking to you next week. And hopefully we have a guest, an expert or a professional for our viewers to discuss some other topics for our podcast.
No doubt, man. Appreciate it. Once again, week 3 down. We're going to keep going, keep pushing. You can always just staying consistent, staying into this, man. Appreciate you, man. Love you, boy.
Love you. All right, blood.